Ever get that feeling, like you're just kind of zoning out while you brush your teeth?
Uh-huh.
Or like you make coffee, but you're thinking about something totally different?
Yeah, for sure. Happens all the time.
That's habits for you. They're kind of running the show behind the scenes for a lot of what we do.
Absolutely.
And in this deep dive, we're going to get into how those tiny things, like the stuff we do every day without even thinking,
Right.
how those things can actually lead to some pretty big changes.
Totally.
You've given me some really interesting stuff to work with here, by the way.
Oh, good.
So let's jump in. What's the deal with habits anyway? Like, how would you explain them to someone who,
Well, habits are basically actions we do automatically.
Okay, so I'm not the only one who just grabs my phone without even thinking first thing in the morning.
Nope, not at all. It's like our brains are wired to do certain things on autopilot.
So that's kind of a good thing, right? I mean, it frees up our minds to think about other things.
Yeah, for sure. But sometimes those autopilot actions aren't.
True. Like late night smacking anyone.
Exactly. But here's the cool thing. Tiny, the ones we do over, they can build up to something way bigger. Like, remember that example from the research?
The one about reading.
Yeah, reading just 10 pages a day. Seems like nothing, right?
You wouldn't think it'd make that much of a difference.
But you do it every day, and suddenly, bam, you finished a whole book by the end of the...
Huh. Small actions, big results. Okay, I'm listening. So how do I actually, make this work?
Well, first things first. You gotta start small. Don't try to change everything over.
Yeah, I tried that whole New Year's resolution thing once.
It never worked.
Not so much.
Pick one small habit, maybe.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Or maybe it's going for a quick walk every day. Whatever it is, just focus on doing it.
Okay, so consistency over intensity, got it. But how do I stay motivated?
That's where habit tracking. Remember all that research about apps?
Oh yeah, right. There are tons of apps out there. I think I even saw one that makes habit tracking into a game.
Exactly. That's the whole point. You got to make it fun and rewarding. You can even use a simple notebook if that's more your style.
Whatever works. The point is seeing that progress can be really motivating.
Okay, now for the elephant in the bad.
Ah, yes, we all have them.
So how do we ditch those? Because willpower only gets far.
Right. Well, you got to remember those bad habits, they're wired into our brains.
So we're basically fighting against.
Pretty much. The best way to break a bad habit is to replace it with a good one.
So like instead of scrolling through social media before bed,
You can read a book instead or listen to calming music.
or meditate.
Exactly. You're basically rewiring your brain, giving it a new autopilot.
So you're saying it's not just about stopping the bad habit, it's about filling that void with positive.
Exactly. And over time, that new habit will become automatic. You know what? I think we had an example of this in the research too. The person who learned a new language,
Oh, yeah. That's a great one.
they didn't go to some intense language immersion camp or anything, right?
Nope. They just made it a habit to study for 15 minutes every.
And look at them now, fluent in a whole new language.
Just goes to show you consistency really.
This is pretty mind-blowing stuff. I mean, who knew that small actions could lead to such massive changes?
It's amazing, isn't it?
And you know what's really interesting? We've been talking about building habits for ourselves, but what about the habits we create for others?
Oh, that's a good point.
Like, think about parents and their kids or teachers and their students. The habits they encourage can have a huge impact.
Absolutely. It's like a ripple.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I think the message is pretty clear. Small habits, big impact.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Thanks for joining us today. And remember, there's a whole world of knowledge out there about the power of habit. So keep exploring, keep experimenting. Who knows? You might just uncover the key to unlocking your full potential.
Abs.
And that's it for this episode of The Deep Dive. See you next time.
See ya. TTA.